It'll be us for a second. Okay, here we go.
Let's get this show going, man.
Hurry up, hurry up! Hurry up! Hurry up!
Hurry up!
Come on now. We're gonna have action soon. Right here. It ain't going nowhere. Boy, your ass got some technique, boy. You ain't show me that this summer. Hey, Wildcat.
Ball at the 5, 3rd down and 2.
That was bad.
Let's go have some fun, bro. We ain't got to talk about too much.
He wasn't playing the ball.
It's holding.
Cliff. The Cliff.
How is that not called?
That ain't gonna call a damn thing.
What is the delay for? He's standing right there.
He's taking a card out. He's a piece of paper.
It's that close? Dear Lord.
Hello and welcome. What did you think of the intro?
Loved it.
It was okay.
Oh.
It was okay. It was okay. Well, I can't believe you got Hayden Hurst in there, not Kyle Pitts. Like, what the fuck? Seriously.
Hayden Hurst. He's the only tight end in Atlanta. The other guy's a wide receiver, isn't he?
Yeah, true. He's a wide receiver. Yes,
There you
and they actually worked out how to use him, or not worked out. Just the fact that maybe if we do use him, something might happen.
Yeah, they had to
Yeah.
go to a whole other continent to do that, though, G, which is weird.
Maybe it was the cabin pressure sort of blew out some cobwebs or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
It was good to see.
How are you both?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Yeah, not pretty average day here in Melbourne today, so
Yeah.
not much going on. So I was sort of sitting here waiting, just watching YouTube videos, waiting for us to start.
Yeah. I've
Ganley?
glad someone liked my intro. Thanks, Ganley. Yeah.
I tell you what would work. We should probably we do our production meetings. You know, we should do them off air. But if you could, I've always found that video clips work really well if you can sort of augment what's on screen to what the voiceover or the music is happening at the time. Do you know what I mean?
No, yes, you are 100% right. The problem is, G, that all those sound bites and things that I've got in that intro,
Yes.
I did that, maybe 12 months ago, maybe later.
Yeah.
So I don't have originally I stripped the audio from the video. I don't have those little video bits anymore.
Okay.
And if I redid that intro, then, hey, Scott, how you doing? If I redid that intro, then I would have the video and the audio.
Okay. Do we have, we're not, any copyrights aren't being.
Well, we're still on the air, so we're good.
Hey, I know someone who can put videos together. Hey, psst, oi, Noah. Put those headphones on, mate. I don't know how you can play video games and look at your phone at the same time. But kids today can multitask. Oh, I'll just throw something at him. I've got the number one TikToker. He puts together TikToks.
What do you mean the number one TikToker in the world?
In our household. He's the only one with TikTok.
I was going to say, it
Come
won't be
here,
living in your house if you're the number one TikToker, I'll tell you that.
We need someone to put together a video for us. AJ just did one. We need your TikToking skills to put together an opening video. Can you do it? Sure. Yeah. Okay. I don't seem too excited. Thanks, son.
Yeah.
He seemed to have something on his top lip there, G.
Oh.
A bit of. Is it something? Did he get caught in the vacuum cleaner or something?
Mate. Myself and his sister have been trying really hard for him to start he's only got it here.
Right.
And there's nothing else. We're trying to get him to shave it off. But I think he said, no, I'll stick it around for November, see what I can do for November.
He's getting a head start on Movember.
Yeah, he's been working on that for about 2 years now.
A running start, a 2-year head start.
Mate, he's 16. He's way ahead of where I was at 16, let me tell you.
There's lots of things that we could talk about, but I think it would be remiss of me not to mention the news that dropped in a very surreal manner in the middle of Monday Night Football, which was that sacked, retired, whatever you want to call it, resigned. John Gruden out of the NFL. And I mean, name taken off the Ring of Honor at the Bucs Stadium also. So, I mean, the full 9 yards. We're probably never going to hear from John Gruden ever again. And, you know, I think that a popular sentiment was that you could, not to sort of say that, I mean, it sort of felt like this wasn't, it was sort of within his character. You can kind of see this sort of person in John Gruden, but certainly very naive and stupid to say these sorts of things over. I mean, anyone who works like Ben and I, for example, not you, G, but Ben and I who work at companies and we have company email, we would never say things that are sort of non-business related over company email, because your email is not your own. It's not personal or private in such circumstances. And so that was very stupid. I mean, for a guy who's got a very high IQ, clearly very high football IQ, it was a very silly and naive.
Football IQ.
Yeah, well, yes. Well,
yes.
Yep. Reactions?
Like you said, you know, you can see it, and people will say that you can see it in people. And look, people in the know there's a lot of things that go on that the public don't know about. Like the media will know, everybody's situated around, but it sort of leaks out, but not leaks out, if you know what I mean. And people know what people like, and he did it himself. But it's also we were talking about this off air, is that you can see it in people, but people's persona is not always who they really are. And it goes both ways. You know what I mean? Like people can seem like an asshole, but they're not really. And then
like you, G, for example.
Oh, without a doubt, mate. Without a doubt. Oh, I try to keep the arsehole thing going 24/7. But you know what I mean? But this is obviously the character that people think that he possibly is, has turned out to be, well, who he is. And can I just say, your head coach,
Brandon
Staley, have you seen where he's asked in the press conference?
Yeah.
About it. I'm not going to talk about it. Just go and have a look at it.
It's really good, but clearly not. You know how sometimes when people respond to things, they're clearly very rehearsed and prepared. It wasn't.
He did it off. Mate, he was talking off the cuff. Yeah.
And for someone to say what he said off the cuff, I think is also quite impressive. It also just shows it was really from the heart. Impressive. Yeah, impressive.
Yeah, the Vikings defensive coordinator, Andre Patterson, who's quite a well-respected defensive line coach, he had a lot to say about particularly the racism side of it, and how, you know, it's a big enough challenge to get the kids who are coming out of college, you know, believing that there's something better for them, that, you know, they're going to live past 21, 22, and that, you know, they want a future. So, like, it's not just, I think, the remarks, right? It's not just the stupid remarks or whatever the email said. It's a wider problem. And that, you know, I think this came out of an investigation into, you know, one of the owners, you know, and you feel like, has he been thrown under the bus? But does that really matter, right? Like, at the end of the day, these characters are here and in the game, and it feels like that maybe he's not the first, and he certainly won't be the last, right?
It's quite unusual, though, that someone in his position and comes across the variety of people that he does feels that way. Like, how do you do your job when you feel that way?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and look, you know, some of it's bluster as well. Like, I feel like, you know, is that what it is in his heart? I'm not sure. Sometimes you talk that way to, you know, it's part of the persona.
The bravado and
yeah.
I think as well, you get to a point, don't you, where, you know, particularly because he was, you know, not only a player and then a coach and then, a pretty big media personality, traveling the country, staying in hotels with other people. Like you imagine that they talk about anything and everything, and you get to the point probably where you feel like you can say anything, because you're such a personality, you feel like you can have an opinion and you can say what you want. And obviously that is dangerous.
Yes. Yeah. All friends videotaping you doing things, you think you're beyond. Shout out to Nadia. That's a local joke, but anyway.
Now, guys, did you watch Monday Night Football?
Monday Night Football. Who played Monday?
It was the Ravens.
I watch all the games and not in any particular order, mate. So I sort of lose where
Ravens Colts.
No, I haven't watched that one yet.
You haven't watched that one?
One game. I've got to watch like 2 games tomorrow, and that's one of them.
Oh, okay.
I watched it, AJ.
There's plenty of games you could probably have missed, to be honest.
Okay.
That would have been because that was the game of the week. What's your opinion of Ben? What was your opinion of the game, and talk to me about Lamar?
Well, it was almost a game of 2 halves, wasn't it? That old sort of soccer saying, like it really was. Like the first half was, I mean, he didn't look like he would complete more than about 15 passes the whole night in the first half. He looked off the boil. Even his rush game looked, below par. He was tripping over his offensive lineman and all sorts of jazz. And to be fair to the Colts, who I think have been pretty underwhelming this year, they did put together probably their best half of football of the season and got themselves away in front. But I mean, it was almost like, what's it on Fast and the Furious where they push the NOS button, and he just goes like straight forward. That's exactly what it's like. Somebody just, filled it up and he pressed it and he just hit everything in that last quarter. And look, there was a fair bit of luck in there as well. And, the few calls that went their way.
Sure.
But look, I mean, that's what he can be capable of at his worst and at his best. You saw it all, I think, in that one
and
game.
It's, one of those moments when an athlete is in the zone, and even like he's going for a 2-down conversion, say, like you just know that he's going to complete it.
Yeah.
And you feel in your heart that if this is going to fall over, it's going to be like a Marquise Brown is going to drop it, or someone like it definitely wasn't going to be Lamar because he was just absolutely zeroed in that zone in that second half, and he was not going to put a foot wrong.
What the hell are you holding?
Oh, it's a
Wrong
coloured
podcast,
highlighter.
AJ.
It's very cool. See,
Oh, okay.
it looks like an ice cream, and when you open it up, it's got little highlighter pens.
Okay. Now I did.
But AJ, to finish off, there was a lot of MVP talk after that performance around Lamar, and I just can't really get behind that given the polarity. Like we saw the worst and we saw the best. Yes, he can do that, but for me, there's been probably 5 or 6 quarterbacks ahead of him this year that have been more consistently delivering. So I find that hard. I think that's hype rather than.
I did see a heading. What do you call it on an article? Is it called a heading? Sorry, what's
a heading? Yes.
Yeah. What do you call it?
I suppose on an article. Okay.
Headline.
Headline. Thanks. And I didn't read the article, but what it said is Lamar as close to a one-man team that there's ever been.
Yeah, right.
And the first thing I thought without reading it is go, well, that's not good.
Well, I suppose. Yeah.
I mean, Marquis.
Because if you're one, sorry.
Yeah, Scott's saying there, like, Marquise Brown, again, made some great plays. He did it the week before. He did make some great plays in that last quarter. And Mark Andrews had a hell of a night.
Oh.
Like, if you had Lamar and Mark Andrews going into, Tuesday night football, Monday night football, you were very happy. Let's put it that way.
Oh, my word.
But
and look, there are some things changing. They do get Rashad Bateman, and I think that he is sorely needed. I think that does fulfill a need, definitely. And look, what you say, Ben, is very valid. I was kind of leading into like, who's your front runner for MVP after 5, but you make a very valid point. His play to this point has been patchy. Maybe this is going to be the catalyst to him stringing a few together here. And then, when Lamar plays like this is a true definition of most valuable player because he's the team. He basically was the entire offense. Yeah. And so
hence the problem is that good.
Well,
is it good?
Is it good? Well, if Lamar gets hurt,
it's not the fact that he gets hurt. If he's off,
then your chances of winning are, lower for sure. Ben, sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, no, which he was off. The Ravens had no real. They didn't deserve to win that game. I don't think. I felt quite bad for the Colts, but at the end of the day, they made the plays at the end. And Blankenship, the kicker, missed. I think. Twice he missed, field goals in that last quarter, which would have, given the Colts a win. So, I think a few weeks ago, Justin Tucker hit that massive field goal to win it. So, look, it's hard because he's no doubt a playmaker who's going to win them games. But I think, MVP is a bit rich for me at the minute.
And talking about field goals, mate, if you looked at the Bengals Packers game, oh my miss! Oh shit! Holy shit! That's unbelievable. That actually. People don't like to play kickers in fantasy, but that was a delight to watch. That was exciting to watch just based on the kickers alone. Seriously.
It's such a head game with kickers.
I don't know why it is a head game, mate. It is a single technique that you have to perfect. One thing that you do.
Yes.
That's all you do. And you can't blame anybody. Like, mate, do you really ever see that the long snapper making a mistake? It's rare these days. Or the holder, laces out, Eighth Ventura, style. I can't remember the kicker in that who changes to a girl. But, it doesn't happen. It's a single thing you have to do. It's like 3 steps and kick the ball.
Right.
You paid $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. No, Scott is asking about MVP. I mean, the NFL clearly has a perception that it's a quarterback. First and foremost. Remember, we had the big discussion that year that JJ Watt exploded. He had an amazing year, and people were pretty split as to whether. A lot of people agreed that he was a very, very strong MVP candidate, and even then, that year it went to. I can't remember who it went to that year, but
probably
it was
Rodgers.
It could, I don't know, someone. But I mean,
a quarterback.
It was a bit egregious. It felt a bit egregious, and the justification was that the quarterback touches the ball on every play, and it's a bit like, same, Scott, same for Aaron Donald. I think that the argument is a little bit skewed. It's definitely skewed in the favor of quarterback, and I think unfairly.
Yeah, I think.
Like, what do you have to do if you're another positional player?
I think it's a bit like what the Golden Globes, right? So it's the Associated Press. So like it's the press who actually put the votes in.
Correct.
And I think it's after you vote after each round, but then you actually vote for a single vote at the end for one person, and they weight it all on some kind of point system. But yeah, I mean, you can see why then it's an offensive player and mainly a quarterback, because they're the guys who win games, right, every week.
Sure, and they're the most visible.
Do you get the players to vote? But you can't vote for anybody in your own team. Simple as that.
Yep. Well, maybe you'd probably get a truer indication. Yeah, MVQ is, I mean, if a defensive player was ever going to win it, the kinds of years that JJ Watt and Aaron Donald have had recent times would have been MVP worthy. And you can't see, so by definition, you can't see a defensive player winning it. And then what would you have to do as a running back, say? I don't know, to win it. We have had a running back win it, though, didn't we? We had, oh, man. Who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of...
TikTok.
I don't know.
Okay.
No, a running back.
I'll look it up while you're talking.
You look it up. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
But who's your MVP candidate right now, Ben?
Well, I think it's Josh Allen. I mean, I don't really see another quarterback out there that is, doing.
If I did that and kept the red cap on and put it like maybe an angry pirate on there.
Oh maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
The year that the angry pirate is having, he's not even angry. Man, imagine if he's angry.
Look, I think that's a valid point, G. But I think I think what Allen's doing is doing quite a lot with actually quite little in terms of production. Like I think he only completed 15 passes last week. And
Adrian Peterson, 2012.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, like it's almost like that game against the Chiefs. It was like, I don't need to drive the ball, waste 8 minutes of clock time. I'm just going to go bang, bang, hit my plays and go straight to the end zone. I just think he's using his weapons really well. And I mean, at the end of the day, the Bills have got the best defense in the NFL at the minute. So that helps because it gives him the ball more. But I mean, it's not like they've got a big run game there either, or Stephon Diggs has had a very quiet sort of start. He's just taking what the offenses are giving him, the defense is giving him, and he's all over it. So, and he's more exciting than Tom Brady. So there you go.
And Ganley, when you have your backup center in, it's bad news.
Yes.
It really is bad news.
And you do a wildcat, quarterback doesn't touch it. So he's right. He touches it more than the quarterback. No, I can't go past Tom at the moment. I can't go past Tom Brady.
Oh,
he's just surgical. And granted, he's probably got the best receiving core in the NFL, but
best receiving core he's ever had.
Oh, without a doubt.
Even when he had Randy Moss.
And he's just typical, we need to drive the ball down the field. Leave it with me, boys. It's just getting it done.
It irritates me. As an owner of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, it irritates me how much he targets Antonio Brown. Man,
Antonio Brown's on fire, dude. You give it to the guy that's getting the job done,
He is. He looked great.
Isn't it weird how you get sick of excellence so quickly? How we all do. Don't we?
Why?
No.
Why?
But we do. We do.
You're right.
We want to see excellence, and then we see excellence, and I'm sick of seeing excellence.
Tear it down.
Yeah.
Tear it down then. Yeah.
It's bizarre. It doesn't matter what sport you play.
Yeah.
But, you always have that real loyal fan base, but the people on the fringes, they want to see it, and then when they've seen it, I don't want it anymore. I want someone else to rise up so I can do exactly the same thing to them. And then I want to see somebody else. It's just this continuing spiral. you get locked in, mate. I love the fact that I watched someone as great as Tom Brady. Mate, I'd like to see him win another Super Bowl.
Oh, they could.
I just wanted to see. It's motorsports, except Lewis Hamilton. I don't like because I don't like his attitude. I think he's a real cockhead. It probably helps if your personality is pretty good as well.
It's good analysis there, G. That's spot on. I think with Hamilton in particular.
But it is, isn't it? It's like Schumacher comes up and you see this young, driven person, and he rises to the top, and all of a sudden, I'm sick of seeing. But you're watching greatness. Just appreciate the fact. Okay, granted, in that sport you have a lot of other things outside of just the driver, but it's in sport in general. Just enjoy the fact of what you are witnessing in your lifetime.
I've really turned around on Tom Brady, I must confess. Same as you, G, in that sense. I've really turned around at him because for a while I
never disliked him.
No, I did for a good while because it was like, the Patriots, right? But then I've grown to appreciate what he's doing at his age. And like Campy just said, like this Thursday night football game, that was probably his worst of the year.
Look, I just said that.
He's been regularly going out and throwing 4 and 5 touchdown games.
Yeah.
I mean, insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
The two things there I was going to say, like one, the offensive line is amazing. Like, I mean, against the Eagles, I don't think one of the Eagles, like, offensive linemen got within 5 yards of him.
No.
I think that the closest they got to him was when he was taking the ball off the center. That was the closest they got to him.
Yeah.
But like, he knocks off 20, 30-yard plays, and you're watching, you're like, oh, that was easy. Like, nobody does it as easy as that. Like,
no.
It's all, you think, well, was that a busted coverage, or was it? It's not. It's just Tom Brady. So, yeah. I mean, I think G, what we like, and what us younger bucks like, are young guys on the up.
Well, we like watching Patrick Mahomes do it, don't we? Oh, Patrick! Yeah. But you go and watch Tom Brady. He's doing a better job this year than Patrick Mahomes is definitely doing. Like on Thursday night, Brady to go and throw first down, one pass, first down, another pass. And we go, but you watch Patrick Mahomes do that, and we're going, how good is this? Look at him throwing. Maybe you just get so used to him doing it that
Now, and what he's added to his game this year is his commercials. His commercials have been fantastic. The Subway one, and
I know what commercials do. But
they come up on the Game Pass anyway, G.
I watched the 40-minute one thing. Dude.
The 40-minute one. Yeah, okay.
All
right. Bang, bang.
All
Keeping
right.
it tight. Speaking of which, G, concept.
Hey, not my concept tonight. This is Benny Boy's idea. He did give me. I actually said we used his concept, and he did thank me for it. He was honoured, but I did say, well, let's face it, you gave me a lump of shitty clay, and I was the one who moulded it. But you did give me the clay.
Okay.
And that was a better compliment than my idea for week 5, which he said, which was basically his reply was, "Shut up, I'm the brains here. Let's move on."
I'm probably more like fuck off, but that's okay.
All right.
Know your spot, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So who's going to explain it?
Ben can explain it.
Week 6.
Week 6.
Yeah, week 6. So what we decided to do was, and I've been working out all week just for this. So you ready?
Oh, give us a look at it. Here we go.
You ready?
That's it. Mate, you've been doing the sit-ups all week for that.
we call it the 6-pack. So 6 positions, QB, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end.
2 tight ends.
Yeah,
good luck.
running backs.
I struggled to find running backs this week.
Anyway, the key element here is they've got to be either in their 6th season or older. So if they've set 7 or 8 seasons, that's fine. Which, if we take it back, the earliest they could have been drafted would have been the latest they could have been drafted is 2016. Yeah. So that's,
mate, did you see? Did you see? When I was going through it, the 2017 class.
Yeah, mate, I was crying. And I looked at the 2013 draft and immediately just crossed through the whole thing. That was like, Geno Smith, EJ Emanuel as the first quarterback off the board. EJ Emanuel. I thought, let's not even look at this.
No, that's right.
All right.
Now, the average. Now, do you guys know before we start? The average career length of an NFL player, bearing in mind that there's a lot of players that play in the NFL, but that certainly does influence the average. But do you know what the average career length is for an NFL player?
8 weeks.
No, it's not 8 weeks.
I'd say, mate, it'd be lucky if it was more than. It couldn't be 2 years.
It is. It's more than 2 years.
It is more than 2 years.
Yeah, it is. It is.
With everybody that comes in and out of the NFL.
Yes.
So, okay.
Drafted players, yeah?
Drafted players, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, okay.
Maybe what they're usually on a rookie contract. So
yeah, it's less than 6, Scott. Less than 6 years.
Maybe 3, somewhere around 3. I'll go just over.
Ben, yes, 3.3 years is the average career of an NFL player. Granted, there's a lot of players that don't last, a year, I guess, or they're in a year or 2, they're gone, they're done. And then you get players who are, they're sort of journeymen and then they're around for a little while, going from team to team to team.
It'd be interesting if you could go by position because, running backs would be like, even quarterbacks would be pretty low, I'd say, the amount that come in and just drop out that aren't, But running backs would have to be, rookie contract, you're pretty much on the heat.
Yeah.
Wide receivers, there seems to be a stack still around.
I've got that information if you'd like it.
Oh, yes, please.
Kickers, the average, kickers, 4.87 years for kickers,
okay.
4.44 for quarterbacks, 3.3 is the average, as I said. Wide receivers, 2.81. Running backs, 2.57. And cornerback, for some reason, they're on this list as well, 2.94.
Okay, so running back's the lowest.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, but it doesn't have other defensive positions on. It doesn't have defensive positions here.
Yeah, they got to change it. They got to change that the running back situation. I think with rookie contracts, it's too long. Different
kickers
positions.
and long snappers out and it drops, or Tom Brady. Just take Tom Brady out.
Yes, exactly.
Talk about outlier.
All right, so we're going to get this thing started, or
okay, we're doing rock paper scissors.
Okay, come on, Ben, get ahead of the time this time. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Paper.
You're out.
So I'm out.
Okay, ready? It's just me and Benny. I'm happy to go. Go. 3, 2, 1. Fuck. You're in.
Okay.
Ben's up.
All right.
Based on this week's matchups, players 6 years or over.
Oh, look, I'm not even gonna question myself, given the running back rooms here.
I know.
It was a pick of 2. It was a pick of 2, and I'm actually not gonna go for the top fantasy producer so far. I'm gonna go with Zeke. I think Zeke over the last, so basically, he's a third fantasy running back at the minute. He had back-to-back 100-yard weeks, hitting pay dirt multiple times. He was obviously picked in 4th overall in the 2016 draft, and I just love the matchup. So that he's at the Patriots, who are currently ranked 22nd in rushing DVOA. So it feels like this is a good matchup. And a lot that's been talked about, I think, with maybe this being a bit of a shootout, but I just don't think Mac Jones is there yet. I don't think he can do that, particularly with Dak. So I think they're going to lean on Zeke and Pollard a lot. And, you know, where the Patriots have really struggled this year is in their rush defense and particularly their linebackers. So I think they're gonna really, you know, lean on Zeke, and it's going to be another 100-yard, maybe even two touchdowns. So pretty happy with that off the back.
And he's looking pretty good.
Mate, I gave him a bit of the rocket how average he looked in week 1. He looked slow, and mate, he must have been listening to the pod because he's really sticking it to me at the moment. Isn't he? I wrote down his numbers here, and he after week 1, so since week 2, he's had 17.7, 26.6, 20.3, 25.2.
Wow.
So I should have actually written down if that was PPR or standard, but I got a feeling that's standard scoring. Really? I don't know if I switched it across.
Oh, look, in fairness, he's not catching a lot of balls.
No, so I think that was standard. I didn't think
it could be standard. It could be standard.
So God scoring. Shout out to Kyle.
The banners that are kind of proclaiming Zeke as dead were a little bit early.
Yeah, but the Patriots also haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher this year so far, and they've only allowed 1 rushing touchdown. So the defense overall has been really good. If you look across the board,
it's always good,
mate. Tight ends, wide receivers, quarterbacks, running backs have really shut teams down this year.
It's always good. Yep.
Excellent. Okay, so mate, I'm going to stick with the running backs because there is absolute rubbish after the first two. And I'm just going to take mate Derrick Henry. He's at the Buffalo this week, who happened to be the 3rd best rush defense so far this year.
That defense is pretty good.
Yeah, mate, they've only given up 13.22 fantasy points on average. But mate, look, also since week 1, which he also had a slow start, mate. Since then, he's put up 47.7, 19.4, and we know this is standard because he doesn't catch the ball. 25.7 and 31 fantasy points. That is just out of control. So I'm more than happy to take him, even against Buffalo. I think it looks like Brown's back and even possibly Julio's back this week, but they weren't looking that good with those guys in the lineup. He hasn't let up from where he's been for the last couple of years.
Yeah, and you mentioned that slow start after the first week. He's actually the top rusher by 20.7 fantasy points, which is like a whole week in itself. Like he's just
and for a guy who doesn't catch the ball again.
Yeah.
You know, it's just nuts.
I liked, you know, the reason why I didn't go for him was just because of that matchup. And I just, you know, I think the Bills are just too good at the minute. So if Josh Allen jumps ahead early, do they move away from him? I mean, they don't really. They don't. But
no, they don't.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, I think it'll be interesting to see how I think Zeke and Henry match up this week. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, AJ, if I was you, mate, I'd probably just leave running back.
I'm not going to running back now.
Yeah,
there's no point. I might as well wait. Because for those who are not quite clued in with this concept yet, there's not many running backs in the league that are 6 or more years.
No. And a couple of them have already played.
Yes, I know.
Some are on buys.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette would have been a good pick.
He would have been a good pick. Whether or not Mike Davis he thinks a good pick, but I think Cordero Patterson would have to be.
He was the one that I was going to mention.
So on a buy, so we can't use those, unfortunately.
No, we
can't.
For
you, AJ. For me and Ben, it's great. We're fine. We're set.
Yes. So I might as well go away from running back and go now. Wide receiver is actually surprisingly deep.
Mate,
it
don't
is
even worry about it.
Well, yes and no. I'm going to pick a wide receiver because I've got the pick of wide receiver.
You're on the turn here, so
I am on the turn. So I'm going to start with Devontae Adams, who's playing at Chicago this week, and even say what you like about. I mean, Aaron Rodgers hasn't been the MVP from last year. Aaron Rodgers. But the one thing you can definitely say about Devontae Adams is he gets targeted a crazy amount.
Mate, do they have another receiver? Like, no, seriously, at some point, you have to start throwing the ball to somebody
else?
Well, maybe you don't have to because Devontae Adams is just he's a freak.
Well, last year, granted it was overtime, but last week at the Bengals, 11 for 206 and a touchdown, 16 targets.
Yeah, no,
best.
is replacing Jesus.
16 targets. The week before that versus the Steelers, 11 targets. The week before that at the 49ers, 18 targets.
Yeah.
He's had, through 5 games, 61 targets, which is obscene.
Just
now,
nuts.
The Bears D, I mean, they're 12th against the pass, but it doesn't really, with a player like Devontae Adams, it doesn't matter. When we talk about the quality of the defense, it really doesn't matter. So I think he's a slam dunk.
I've got Rodgers obviously here as one of my options at QB, and I put like 3 points next to him. The first 2 are stat based. The third one's just Devontae Adams. That's all I put. Because it's like he just makes things happen. I mean, he ran past three defensive backs last week for that long touchdown, as if they just weren't there. Like it, unbelievable guy.
If I call LeBron,
yes,
third round pick.
Yeah, a 3rd round pick. I know, amazing. Okay,
You're on the turn.
I'm on the turn, so I am going to go with the next position that I think is a little thin. Only a little thin. It's just going to suck for the third person, I think. And that's tight end. I might as well grab a tight end here.
Yeah.
So, and I don't necessarily love the matchup this week, and we've already spoken about how Patty Mahomes is a little bit iffy, but I mean, the Chiefs are. I mean, they're last in the AFC West. So, I mean, if that doesn't qualify as backs against the wall, nothing else does. This is the time when they have to really pull the finger out and get cracking. And that's what MVP quality players do. Or pro first team quality players like Kelsey and Mahomes, the cream rises to the top, so to speak. And Kelsey, again, gets targeted a crazy amount for a tight end. He's had 42 targets through 5 weeks. Last week he had, versus the Bills, no less, which is one, as we've already spoken about how good their defense is. He had 6 for 57 and a touch off 10 targets. And this week they are at Washington. And, Washington, for all the talk about how good their defense is,
terrible.
They're not playing that well.
No.
They're not playing that well. So I don't think it's necessarily a scary matchup, particularly.
Not
I
at
think
all.
the Chiefs are going to be hungry. So Travis Kelce, I will.
No, that was a good bit. I knew you'd take him at one of those spots. I'll take the next best available tight end. Then. Just let me have a look.
No, because the third one is the third one's not bad, but look, give me a break.
Okay, before I take the second, who would be your third?
My third?
Well, I've got 4. I've got 4
Have
on
you?
the list. Yeah.
I've got 5.
Yeah.
My third was Higbee.
Okay, no.
Interesting.
Yeah. My third, which I'll take a tight end here, but my third would have been Jared Cook, just based on the fact that any given week, mate, with his quarterback, there's touchdown available all around the place.
Yes.
In charge of
Mike Williams did not practice all week as well. So, you feel like...
I don't think there's much to that.
He's got sore hands. That's right. So I'll take the tight end here, and look, you don't have to give any stats or anything like that, because when you take the top tier of tight ends, it's like wide receivers you spoke about with Devontae Adams and some of the guys. Does the matchup or does stats, unless the whole team's just an absolute basket case and they've gone down, like haven't been the rat on the sinking ship. You just pick him, you put him in your lineup, and you never even have to worry about that position. And Darren Waller, probably not having the year that he has the past couple.
No,
but
he's playing well. Last week wasn't that good.
But he's still like he's had some. Last year was just like every week he was just like, oh my god, Darren Waller. This year it's not the same. He's still putting up numbers, but not the same height of numbers. But still, mate, just a plug and play tight end. And because the rest of them are seriously like the running back core that we've got left, I can't let that guy pass for somebody else. That wide receivers, like you said, is stacked here. I'm happy with it. Like I've got 10 guys written down here, 12 guys, and I'd be happy with any of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
So Darren Waller for me.
Easy pick.
Yeah.
Chalk. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Throw it in there, Ben. You might as well leave tight end. Move on.
Yeah, I was like this for my piece of paper. I'm just like, oh look, I'm gonna go double up on the Cowboys here and grab my quarterback. So I'm gonna grab a guy, 4th round pick, amazingly, right? You know, who needs to be a 1st round pick to be a top quarterback in the league? Out of Mississippi State, he's got at least 3 passing touchdowns in his last 3 games.
He's playing well.
He's playing well. I mean, the offensive line's obviously helping him. You think about the targets. Obviously, we know what Amari Cooper can do on the sideline. Yeah. CeeDee Lamb, who probably had a bit of a quieter week last week, a bit of a disappointing outing. But that's because Dalton Schultz. I mean, talk about a breakout tight end. Unfortunately, drafted after 2016, but has really come in as that additional option. And when you've got Zeke who can catch passes, when you've got Tony Pollard who can catch passes out of the backfield, which they might do a bit more of this week, given the fact that the Patriots do tend to make things difficult for opposing quarterbacks. So look, I like the shootout potential, whether that materializes or not, but you feel like that's going to have to throw for 300 again, throw for at least 2 touchdowns, and that'll give me a nice Zeke that combo.
No, I like it. He was second on my list, actually, for the fact that New England are the 5th ranked team against quarterbacks, only given on average just over 15 fantasy points a game. They've only allowed 6 TDs all year in 5 games to quarterbacks. Granted, Prescott's ranked number 9. He's only one of 10 QBs to have over 100 fantasy points so far this year. But the Cowboys have put up 170 points already this season. Wow. That's an average of 34. A game.
Wow.
That's fantastic. And I think there's a game in there. So I think it was maybe a 17-point game in there. So when you take, you think of that's some serious numbers to putting up. So and Pat's going, mate, for the 4th loss at home in a row this season really? Already. Ooh. Yeah, they've lost the 3 home games and won the 2 away games. So, Ben. You're on the turn, mate. Who's your you must. I'd probably go and grab maybe another running back here. No?
Well, I'm just divvying up whether I go running back or.
Seriously, you're not going to, are you?
Well,
would you go any of the running backs that are there? If you were in a draft, would you take any of them over the wide receivers that are there? No.
That's not the game, G.
It's not the game.
Stop messing me with you. No, I'm gonna take a surprise. I'm gonna throw in a surprise. Because I think it's probably, like you say, there's a lot of wide receivers on the board here. A lot of what I would say, established number 1 guys that I could go for. But, we've already talked about this guy's quarterback a little bit. And look, he's probably one of the wide receivers that has always been a bit forgotten about in terms of fantasy. particularly when he was with the Broncos. So I'm going to go for Emmanuel Sanders.
I had my hand up. Nice.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Emmanuel Sanders. Obviously, drafted in the 3rd round of the 2010.
Wow.
11th season draft out of SMU. Obviously won Super Bowl 50 with the Broncos. Had sort of some nice cameos with the Saints and the 49ers. But looks like he's found his sort of, place to retire in Buffalo. He's got 4 touchdowns over his last 3 games, and he gets the Titans defense that ranks 25th in passing DVOA. And I just feel like we've talked about a little bit how Stephon Diggs has had a slow start to the year. And this guy just seems to have, been a bit of a darling for Allen. Like he's the guy who he's looking for at the minute down the field. And, he's just a wily veteran, right? Route runner, does his job, works his ass off, is all about doing what he can for the team. And, that if we think that, and many games are going to be high scoring this week, I reckon this has got the chance to be the highest scoring out of the lot, despite Buffalo's defense.
By one team? By one team.
By one team, yeah.
Well, highest scoring team this week. Yep.
This could be a 50-point if they want it to be. That I reckon it could.
Oh, mate, Tennessee suck. Their defense is appalling. Yeah. And Emmanuel Sanders, when you're talking about Stephon Diggs, is that young guy run around, and Emmanuel Sanders, that the gift of the old what movie was it? The old Chinese guy that with the long grey.
Yes,
he's from a kung fu movie.
The 2K
he just strokes his chin. He just sort of, just wisely works his way into the best spot. He's just sitting there, let the young bloke just,
I was thinking Stephon, in Indiana Jones, where he goes to the market and the guy's like, oh, and he's got all the knives and he's like doing it, and Indiana just pulls the gun out and shoots him. That's exactly what he's like. So it just goes for the kill.
Yeah, and on top of the 4 touchdowns he's had in the last 3 weeks, he's also on. It's not like he's only had 70 yards of. He's been in the right place in the end zone. He's had 222 yards to go along with those 4 touchdowns. Mate, Tennessee are ranked number 32. They're the last worst team against wide receivers.
Wow.
They're giving on average 47. To click over 47 fantasy points. Mate, they are one of 6 teams that are already given up 1,000 yards this year to receivers. They are actually the worst team for giving up yards to receivers. And they've allowed the 3rd in the most TDs allowed. So there's just hemorrhaging points to wide receivers. That's a good pick. I might swing back and grab, because AJ's not going to get a chance here. I'm like, he's going to get a chance, isn't he, to pick up the other guy.
It's interesting because I was listening to a podcast with, I know you guys have had him on before, Mr. Titan. The Tennessee Titans. And he was saying how I think Jurrell Casey retired in the off-season on that defensive line. And they just, they're really struggling to find not only guys who are playmakers, but, leadership guys. Harold Landry's probably not kicked on the way they want them to. Guys like Rashaan Evans, Jeffrey Simmons, guys who are all first-round picks, just not really finding their feet. And it's not the first time under Vrabel either. He's generally a defensive guy. So, yeah, they've got massive problems. And I just think someone like Josh Allen's just going to pick them apart. Really is.
Yeah. That's a good pick. So, on to me. Being in the middle, I only get 1 pick. I'd love to be on the ends one so I can get 2. I think I'm going to take my quarterback here because AJ's got 2. So one of them's definitely going to be a quarterback. So I'm going to take the guy who's on top of my list. Dak was number 2, but just because of the matchup, really, I'm going to take Matt Stafford.
Oh, nice.
Up against the Giants this week. The Giants are averaging 21.52 fantasy points to quarterbacks. One of 12 teams to give up 10 plus TDs to quarterbacks already. And Stafford currently sits number 8 amongst all starting QBs. And the Giants have given up 145 points in 5 games, an average of 29. And let's face it, they haven't played very good teams either, like offensive teams to give up all those points. They've played the Broncos, Washington, the Falcons, the Saints, and the best team to probably play with an offense this year is the Cowboys, and the Cowboys blew them away for 44 points. So I'd probably put the Rams and Cowboys, their offenses, similar in scoring potential. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking around that sort of 40 point this weekend. So that could be a very nice weekend for Matthew Stafford at the Giants. And they could be on the field a fair bit too, I reckon.
Well, yeah, averaging at least 37 passes a game. I mean, that when you've got Woods, you've got Cooper Kupp, you've got Van Jefferson, who's looking great. A
little favourite of ours, AJ.
Yes. Yeah.
Looking very good.
Okay. I've got 2 picks here, and I think I'm going to go running back for both of them.
You can't see me through my headset.
I'm gonna hate it too because they're horrible.
Yeah.
They're horrible. I mean, I would much rather pick like the wide receivers that are available are great. I don't need a tight end anymore, and I might as well wait on quarterback now. I don't worry about that. So I might as well go for running back, and it's like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna throw up in my mouth saying this, but I think my first one has to be Melvin Gordon. It's very hard when you're looking through the running backs.
Is Melvin Gordon? I didn't even have him on my list.
Really? There you go. Well, Melvin Gordon, maybe I'm stealing one from you, but likely not. He's not getting a lot of touch. That's the problem. And I think the Melvin Gordon era in Denver is fast coming to an end. It's going to be the Javonte Williams show very, very soon. I think he's only averaging 11 touches the last 2 games. However, he is playing the Raiders, and that's quite a good matchup for running backs. And I really feel that Denver, they're going to be hitting the run pretty hard probably in this game. And I think they're also of the mindset that they might as well use Gordon while they've got him. But yeah, it's not fantastic, but it's a pick. It's a running back.
He's got a pulse.
Yeah, he's got a pulse. So I hate it, but that's my first running back. And my second, I'm going to go for another running back here, and I've got a few choices. Actually, I don't. Well, the choices again are very, very average, but I might go for one a little bit out of the box here. Actually, again, I kind of hate it because it's a situational one. I hate it because the O-line of this team is absolutely awful. But I might go for Devontae Booker.
Oh, I was looking at Devontae.
Yeah, and it's a situational one because Saquon not playing this week. The O-line is terrible. I presume Daniel Jones is playing. He may not be playing.
No, he's passed protocol. Yeah.
And this is against the Rams. And Devontae Booker in spot duty has shown a little bit of spark.
Mate, the Rams haven't, for that defensive line, the Rams haven't been absolutely shut down of running backs.
No, their linebacker core is very average, I would say. Well, playing in a very average standard. I love the player Jalen Ramsey. I think he's been amazing. And certainly, yes, what you say about the D line is accurate. They're probably not playing to what they look like on paper. I think Devontae Booker's not a bad play really this week. It's a little bit like if we're just talking. Obviously, we've limited ourselves to players 6 years or older.
Yeah.
But even if you got the whole slate of running backs with the injuries at the moment, if you've got Devontae Booker, you're probably playing him.
I am, actually, AJ. I am in 2 weeks.
All right, so that leaves it round to me then. So being in the middle again, I get my one pick.
Yep.
And I probably could go a running back here because of the depth at wide receiver, but I'm not going to because really the running backs to the left, they're all going to give me 3 points.
Yeah,
5 points.
I think there's one who could transcend that.
There is.
In PPR, yes.
Yes, there is. There is. But you sort of really. I'd rather take a guy that could just go off, and I don't have to worry about my running back because my wide receiver is going to make up for it. Look, he's sitting at the top of the list. He's a number one wide receiver. He's number 3 overall wide receiver. But he's number 1 on this list for the 6 year plus. Got a bit of a quad injury at the moment, so he's questionable, but
he'll play.
McAfee Security Plus has just come up with. Someone's broken into my computer, obviously, and I'm going to take Tyreek Hill. Like up against Washington this week, ranked 30th against wide receivers, giving up an average of almost 45 fantasy points to wide receivers. It's just, as we said, it's just one of those guys that you don't even. Well, who's the matchup this week? It doesn't matter. You plug him in, especially with that quarterback. Bang, number 3 wide receiver this year, number 1 in my heart, and number 1 wide receiver for me this week, Tyreek Hill. Done. Simple.
That's an interesting pick, G, because obviously the thing that I was looking at with Hill was his stats are a little bit inflated by his week 4 game against the Eagles where he absolutely went off. He scored 42.1 fantasy points.
But he's not going to do that again for the rest of the year. That'll never happen. That won't happen again.
But outside of that, he's only got 1 receiving touchdown in the rest of the games. So something to just make the lights go out, G. I haven't got enough ports in my computer at the front of it. They're all at the back to put it in because I've got my microphone and my light plugged into it, into the UBS port. So I have to unplug something to put my mouse so I can get rid of the McAfee. Whatever it is, the antivirus, and we are.
Thomas looks at the camera and just goes,
"We are meant to be back." Sorry, Ben. Continue.
So I don't know. I think Hill's obviously a very solid pick, but it'd be interesting with Mahomes' up and down play, that offensive line struggling. Maybe it is the game that Washington come out and maybe do something on defense, but I can't see it, so I'll shut up. So I'm gonna go. Look, I'm gonna bank on. This is banking on the fact that I reckon Mike Williams could miss this week's game. All right, so it's a big call. It is a big call, but there's clearly one guy who would benefit from that, and that is a 29-year-old. Cal Golden Bears, 3rd round of the 2013 draft by the Chargers. Keenan Allen. It feels like he's due as well. Like he's been making some amazing plays. That the catch on 3rd down last week from Justin Herbert, just phenomenal. He's averaging over 10 targets a game through 5 weeks. He gets the Ravens, obviously, who, are allowing tied for 28th in the league with the most passing yards, so 296. And we saw what we just talked about the game against the Colts. If Carson Wentz can light up their secondary, then, what can Justin Herbert do? And yeah, I just feel like that this is a week where we see Keenan Allen, go from that sort of above average wide receiver 1 numbers. And, that's hopefully with Mike Williams in or out. But yeah, I mean, when you've got the volume there, you think it's only a matter of time that this guy's going to, tick on. So I'm pretty happy there with Keenan Allen.
Too easy.
Second pick?
Yep.
Go on, G. Go on.
No, mate. Keenan Allen, he's sort of, but he's been stable. He hasn't been outstanding. He's been stable. He's been giving you good, solid fantasy points every week. But that's all they are. They're just solid fantasy points. He hasn't given you that spike that you'd like. But mate, he's been overshadowed by
he catches like 10 balls a game. Anyway.
No, yeah, but if you look at his fantasy, like his yardage just hasn't been there. The touchdowns haven't been there. They've been going to the 6'5" freak on the other side of the park.
Yep. So, who's on fire?
Who's just every catch is just cha-ching.
And there's lots of calls that we make in the off season, and plenty of people were saying, "Oh, I think Mike Williams might have a bit of a year." And it's easy in retrospect to go, "Oh, well, we should have seen it. It was obvious. Contract year." The big thing with Williams has been health.
Yes.
So, as long as
it's amazing how you make these freakish catches he's made every year, and you come down, you get up, and you bounce back up when it's a contract year. But in the other years, like, oh, geez, I think I've hurt myself a little bit there.
Millions and millions of reasons.
Millions
to do it.
Yeah. All right, your second bet.
Yeah, I'm going to stay with the Chargers here, and I'm going to take my tight end off the board. You've already mentioned him, G. Don't really need too much to talk about here, but the Chargers love a veteran tight end, don't they? They just love the guy. Yeah. So Jared Cook, 2009 draft, so we're going even later than Emmanuel Sanders.
I don't know if my son was born in 2009.
Obviously out of the University of South Carolina. Look, I mean, there is an element here. Donald Parham, who's a young tight end coming up, has been vulturing a few end zone targets. But I mean, the Ravens they're giving up the 3rd most points to tight ends in the league. So you just feel like that Cook's going to see 1 or 2 red zone targets. He's going to haul at least one in, and if that gives me 40 yards and a TD, I'll take that out of the tight.
And he's been getting a few of the deep balls for a guy of his age.
Yeah.
Herbert hasn't been throwing down the sideline to him. I think he threw a couple to him last week with just a little bit off, but would have really added to his day.
Yeah.
Interestingly, when we consider that the average career is 3.3 years or whatever I said earlier, and Jared Cook had a lot of ordinary years to begin his career. It's surprising that he's still in the league.
Guy can block.
Yeah, well, yeah, he can. But, he has been pretty average as a tight end. But of recent years, he's been very good.
It's just fine wine.
Fine wine.
Oh, fine wine. All right, well, back on me. Let's get this thing moving. So, what am I after? I need a running back. Well, I'm just going to leave the running back. That's going to be my last pick. Yeah, it's just terrible. It's just a bad fight. So here we at the moment. These are guys that I've got down. I've got Tyler Lockett, Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins, Adam Thielen, Robert Woods, and Stefan Diggs are the guys that I've got left on my list, which is a pretty healthy bunch of guys. You'd be happy to have them on any team that you have.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. Geez, Hopkins is reliable, but he hasn't really set it alight this year. Stefan Diggs, he's due. He's so due.
A marksman.
And against this, I'm going to go Stefan Diggs because he's just due. And if this is the week of any week, it has to be this week. It's got to be against the worst passing defense in the league with one of the best quarterbacks.
So it's already the Emmanuel Sanders week, mate. So I don't know why you're trying to, spoil
well,
that.
This is where you're going to come unstuck with your team is the fact that it's going to be Stephen. He's been so close so many weeks now to having that, just breaking that one or two, receptions off, or just been out of reach, or just he's had a couple of drops. But yeah, like I said, against the worst passing defense, if not the worst defense in the league, full stop.
Yeah.
This week 6, lucky 6. Is it a lucky number for somebody? Anybody? 6? Is it Chinese? Is lucky for Chinese? Is he part Chinese? No. They do have a little bit of red in the uniform. That's a start. That's a lucky colour. But no. All joking aside, I think this is going to be his breakout performance for, and then it's all, mate, gravy train for the rest of the season, Stefan. This is going to be the game that gets it cooking. All or nothing.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay.
All right, AJ. So you're after a quarterback.
Yep.
And a wide receiver.
Well, let me go with the quarterback first. And
there's only one left.
So let me go with the MVP himself. And you can still boast the title until someone takes it off you. So he's the MVP.
Kirk Cousins ain't playing that well.
No, he's not. Oh, Kirk Cousins. Yeah. Well, look, I'm going to go with A-Rod. I just looked at where he's placed in terms of fantasy.
15th.
He's a QB 15. So he's not even a QB 1 on the year.
No.
Which is very, very disappointing. His stats on the year, let's see, 1,241 yards, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I wonder how that's tracking compared to coming into week 6 last year. I'm sure it's not. Oh, well, it's clearly not nearly as good. At Chicago this week, maybe the fact that they went to overtime last week. I mean, he had his best game. He threw for 344 yards. That's been his best game on the year. Maybe that's going to spur something and
300 yards of him to one player.
Yeah, that's right. So maybe that's going to be the catalyst to bring out more of the MVP Aaron Rodgers that we saw last year. But anyway, it is what it is.
Does Aaron Rodgers to you, does he look as though he's trying, like he's always had that, he likes the big play? No, not disinterest. He's throwing the ball with far less, he throws it with no abandon anyway. It's just his style.
Yeah.
Does he look like he's doing it with even less abandon this year? Fuck it.
I don't know.
It looks like he's looking for the big play. That the front cover pass all the time.
Right.
Man, he's got two extremely. I wouldn't say he's got, as far as running back tandems go, he's probably got the second best running back tandem in the league. Yep. Possibly.
Yeah. AJ Dillon's looking pretty good.
AJ Dillon's looking good.
Yeah.
He just looks as though there's more devil may care about him than ever before.
Yes.
Which is adding to him not being the quarterback that he still makes all the amazing passes and fits it in windows that, not even a 5-year-old robber could get through, knocking over your house. But it's just the devil may care just seems to be getting a little bit more of a grip. And I'll say that same about Patrick Mahomes. It's got a little bit of that going on about him this year as well.
Potentially dangerous.
Yeah. And a lot has been said about it, but I think the off season, you can't discount the off season that Rodgers had and the effect that has had on his mindset and the team as a whole. I think those things have an effect.
And maybe throw the ball to somebody else would help.
Yeah, and maybe.
Involve a few other people. Okay, so your last pick's going to be wide receiver.
Wide receiver. And yeah, as you listed off some before, there's plenty of choices, but I will go for DeAndre Hopkins, who, as I think you, when you were saying it's quite rightly, he's not having the year that you'd expect. His best week was actually week 1, where he had 6 for 83 and 2 touchdowns. He's got 4 touchdowns on the year. Probably not quite a nuke performance, but he is dominant, generally speaking, anyway. Just not as dominant as we have seen from him in the past.
He's Keenan Allen. He's doing Keenan Allen. He's safe to put in your lineup every week.
Safe as houses.
And he's not giving you the big spike except for the week 1, but he's just giving you good, consistent numbers week in, week out.
And look, it may be as a result of the Arizona offense, because you've got lots of pieces in that offense. I mean, they're down a tight end now. So maybe that will have a little bit of an effect, and maybe you get a few more targets. I don't know. But it's just
they're not. They just went and acquired one.
Yeah,
did they? Oh, they did,
yes,
of course.
Zach Ertz.
But he's not playing this week.
He's not going to be playing this week. No, he's not playing. He can't play twice, can he?
He's already played. Yeah.
I want a different team.
I'd love to see that rule. I'd love to see that rule, because for fantasy that would have been a game changer.
How good!
Oh, how good is that? I mean,
he's already got a touchdown. He already got a touchdown in 50-odd yards. So
and look, really, he wasn't really put under the pump at all. Like there was nothing where he would have been hurt. He wouldn't have been tired. Can't be
and
tired.
You know that he would have arrived going, "I'm ready to go. Can I play?"
Yeah.
He would have. Completely.
I got a quarterback that can throw.
That's right. Yes, I think you can't go wrong really with Nuke, to be honest.
No. Okay, so I've got to pick. Last pick for me is my running back. And the guys I have on my list I got to choose from.
Yep.
Latavius Murray, JD McKissick.
Yes.
Alex Collins.
Yep.
Because there's no Chris Carson again this week. Damian Williams, which is, and they're the ones that I have.
Yes.
I was going to pick Alex Collins, but the matchup is quite brutal for running backs, to be honest. And with Geno Smith, who looked very capable last week when he got put into the spot. First start in 4 years coming up. He could have been in our quarterback list. He's been in the league for more than 6 years.
No.
How's he doing? Yes, he has. Mate, he hasn't started for 4. He must have started. Well, no, it might be his 5th year. He's probably got dumped after his first 12 months.
Hey, don't laugh about that. Until I heard the news about Daniel Jones earlier, Mike Glennon was on my quarterback list.
That dude's got some serious neck going on.
He does.
So we got Mark Ingram against Indy. Devontae was taken. Alex Collins up against Pittsburgh this week. Number 4 against RBs. They've been really solid. Haven't allowed a touchdown to RBs all year so far, Steelers. I'll take Damian Williams against Green Bay this week. Not because I really like it.
You may have Taylor.
But it's just because he's the worst one of a bad bunch. He's the best one of a bad bunch. I say the worst one of a bad bunch, which is probably correct as well.
Yeah.
But I'll just take Damian Williams and hope that he can produce another touchdown this week and get the 16 for 46 he got last week in the 1 TD just to save him bacon.
You know, the Chiefs kept the wrong Damian Williams, really.
They did.
Yeah. But, the other Damian Williams is out for COVID this week. Otherwise, he would have been starting.
He would have been.
Yes.
Yes.
As is Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury's also out for the Cardinals. Yeah.
Wow.
He's single, isn't he?
Surely that's racist.
Is it COVID or mono? Like that joint. If he has got a rotating door of his pad, I'll go with. But anyway. All right. So who's up? So that's Ben. Finish it off.
It's me. Finish it off and
with what? What are you going to take, mate?
Well, I'm in the same boat as you. I'm
yep.
running back, and I actually don't think you mentioned this guy, so I'm going to take him. I did think about Alex Collins, but look, coming off his most productive game of the season, where he got 51 scrimmage yards and played 68% of the snaps, he should now take up Houston's top receiving back role. And that's 2015 third-round pick, David Johnson. So I just think that, when you look at how thin, like you mentioned there about the matchup for Alex Collins, who has got, at least 70 yards in his last 2 games on the ground, 1 TD. But, Geno, the Steelers haven't allowed a rushing touchdown, so you don't really want to go there. David Johnson, you just from a PPR point of view and, his potential to maybe nick something out of the backfield, which, Davis Mills, you're not sure. Like he's shown a few flashes last week, but nothing that they're not going to be why am I picking David Johnson?
I can't believe if you go and watch the Houston Texans, mate, and I can tell you it's a sad day as a running back when Mark Ingram looks better than you do carrying the football.
Yeah.
Your career's over. It's finished.
Yeah.
And I think Mark Ingram actually looks more explosive and he looks more powerful than David Johnson looks. So you better be hoping he's catching the ball out of the backfield.
Honestly, should be giving Philip Lindsay some more run.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
No.
In what I've seen of Philip Lindsay, man, he just doesn't have that spark that he's had. No. Now, the other guy that you could have taken, Ben, the other running back that we left on the board, obviously, was Latavius Murray up against the Chargers, right? This is what the Chargers have given up to running backs this year.
Oh.
They've given up 230 yards to the Browns, 186 to the Chiefs, 198 to the Cowboys, and 126 to the Washington football team. The other game was pretty low. I think it was like maybe under 50 or round about there. But that's what they've given up to running backs. So Latavius Murray could have been maybe I should have picked Latavius Murray.
Well, it was on my list because, like you say, the Chargers are giving up the 7th most fantasy points to running backs. He's also scored in 3 of the last 4 games he's played. So he's actually hit pay dirt in 3 or 4. And look, it's just such a like when you're trying to bet on a Baltimore running game, like you're like, well, what's the point of that? So, it's a tough one. But I mean, Latavius Murray's probably one of those guys. You talked wasn't really a guy, drafted to be a big lead back, but sort of assumed that role in with the Raiders. And then look, I mean, in Minnesota, he was great. He did a great job in Minnesota alongside Dalvin Cook when they drafted him.
Mate, he did a great job as a backup to Kamara. Yeah,
he did.
Is it the fact that he runs? People go because he runs so upright.
Yeah. That
people just say, well, he can't be. How good a back can he be when you can't? Running backs aren't like that. He doesn't squirt through the hole, or But Derrick Henry, he squirts through the hole. Just runs over the top of people. He runs straight up.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, I mean, you imagine there's a less chance for injury, but running like that and concussion and things like that. But look, I mean, a 6th-round pick out of the 2013 draft. I mean, as far as second contracts for running back goes, like if you look at probably the career earnings of all these guys, he'll probably be higher than quite a few of these guys.
That's something we'll go. I'll go through during the week, and we'll look at a team, and we'll look at earnings, and we'll see who's going to win on the earnings stats. So we'll have a look. Let's say we'll just quickly go through the teams before we wrap this up. Ben at quarterback's got Dak Prescott. His running backs are Zeke and David Johnson. His wide receivers are Emmanuel Sanders and Keenan Allen. His tight end is Jared Cook. AJ, you have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, Melvin Gordon, Devontae Booker as your running backs, Devontae and DeAndre, Hopkins and Adams, respectively, as your wide receivers, and Travis Kelce as your tight end. I have Matt Stafford, Derrick Henry, and Damian Williams, my running backs, Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs, and Darren Waller as my tight ends. So it'd be very interesting. That they all seem pretty much of a muchness, really, across the board. We have weaks and strengths. Our weaknesses are our second running back.
Or my first.
I was going to say AJ's both, but you're trying to make it up with obviously with Travis Kelce. We'd make that up. We'll see what happens. Keep the scores going, and eventually I'll put them all together, and we'll see how everybody's going. And just before we go, Ben, how's our two men going after a very nice week from CD last week? How the numbers looking?
Good call on that. Funnily enough, CD didn't have the greatest week last week. So currently
he had a 57-yard touchdown, mate. It's not too bad.
Oh, sorry. Maybe it was the week before that. I'm not sure. Anyway, let me just check here. So basically, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Justin Jefferson is a wide receiver 10, with 81.14 fantasy points.
Is this PPR?
PPR.
Yep.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. CeeDee Lamb, 23rd, with 60.4 fantasy points. So, CeeDee Lamb, good week last week, like you said, actually, G, with 60.8. The week before, against Carolina, just had a complete dud. 5 targets, 2 receptions for 13 yards. That was it. So that's what's cost CeeDee Lamb. So the lips are getting wet.
I have to save up. It's going to be expensive. It's going to cost me. It's going to cost me. It's only 5. We're only 5 weeks in. We've got another 12 weeks to go. 12 games to go. So plenty of chance. Plenty of time. Plenty of time for Jefferson to get hurt.
All right, let's wrap it up. So thanks very much, guys. Hope you've enjoyed that. That was just a bit of a different topic there and just gave us a bit of a chance to talk about some different players. But also interesting to kind of reflect on the longevity of players in the league. Especially at the running back position, man, doesn't take long. They're all, it's a young man's game. At that
it's your rookie contract position, basically.
And that's it. Yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Best of luck with your fantasy teams this weekend. Go Chargers. Massive game against the Ravens.
And talking about the Chargers too, I saw on Twitter here, you've picked up a new supporter. Jess O'Brien, I don't know anything about, but he was looking for a team and he saw Brandon Staley's press conference. And he goes, that's the team I'm going to follow. It didn't hurt the fact that you've got a good QB either. That sort of helps.
No, that doesn't hurt at all. But I think, Brandon Staley's looking good. I mean, he could be a coach. He could be coach for many years.
Mate, he could be coach of the year the way he's going at the moment.
Oh, I dare say. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Have a great week with your fantasy teams and enjoy your upcoming week of NFL action. And on behalf of NG and myself, I'm going to wish you all the best. Catch you next time.